Greetings, my fellow FUDs. How are you all doing today? My name is James Reeves, and you're watching BUBBA Tactics on TFBTV. So go ahead and procure yourself a bush light from the refrigerator, yell at your kids and or dog to be quiet, give your wife a nice relaxing punch in the face, and pay attention to this video because we've got some good information for you. We've got good information for you all today. I'm a big fan of the Mini-14 and the Mini-30. I think that they're super underrated guns. I think that they handle well, they're compact, they're fun as hell to shoot, and they work very well suppressed, I've found out in the past. So I like them. They've been through quite a few design iterations. The old ones were inaccurate as shit, and they haven't gotten away from that reputation. But there are a lot of redeeming qualities. In fact, I even did a video a while back called it was like 7 or 8 ways or something like that. The Mini-14 is better than the AR-15. And in true redneck fashion, I actually miscounted. If you look at the title of the video, and then you watch the video, I'm like missing a reason, one of the reasons. But it got like 3 million views. So I'm glad to see that there are other Mini enthusiasts out there. But the thing is, you go and shoot your Mini-14, you're like, son of a bitch, I really miss certain aspects of my AR-15 versus my Mini-14. So we're gonna go over must-have accessories if you have a Mini-14. Now, if you're doing the math at home, a Mini can run you, the price fluctuates all the time. I think they run primarily, I've seen them as low as 600 bucks on fire sale. And as much as $800 or $900 if you get something like the Tactical here, the Mini-14 Tactical like I have and I love. And once you factor in the parts costs and everything, you're already at a mid-high-end AR-15 by the time you're done. So really, you gotta have a love for the Mini if you wanna do what I'm suggesting in this video. In no way am I suggesting to you that this is a more economical approach to accomplish the same thing that an AR-15 can accomplish, because I just think dollar for dollar you can't do that with the Mini. But that said, redeeming qualities. Two things I've already kind of talked about in the past. With the Mini-14, the Mini-30, they're piston operated guns, which is awesome. That means that for the most part, your bolt and bolt carrier group, that stays cleaner unlike the direct impingement system out of the AR-15. And you also have a recoil assembly that's up here forward of the magazine. So that means that you can have a folding stock, unlike with the AR-15 where you have to have a buffer tube to the rear of the receiver. Not the case with the Mini. So SHOT Show 2020, I go by the Samson booth and I see this. This is the Samson A-TM stock. And I don't know, maybe it's just the North Florida boy in me, but this is one of the best looking stocks that I've seen and one of the best looking configurations I've seen on any semi-automatic rifle. I think it looks great, and the good news is it actually functions really well. But I see this thing at SHOT Show, I go to Samson, I'm like, guys, please, 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 I'm begging you to send me one. And then they finally send me one. I say finally, they sent it to me a few weeks later, in February probably. And the funny thing is, because I'm so bad with my hands, I let this thing sit for months. Right now it's May, late May, and I just maybe a few weeks ago finally put this stock on my Mini because I was so intimidated. I was like, I'm replacing the lower half of this gun. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to handle this by myself. I finally sucked it up and tackled it. It took me only about 10 minutes the first time reading the directions. It was my first time ever removing one of the stocks on my Minis. And maybe only a couple of GFDs, and I did smash my finger a couple of times. Fuck. Once I got it on here and I saw how it worked and how easy it was, I did it 2 more times, and I think it took 5 minutes the second time and then maybe 2 minutes the third time. So that was extremely impressive. Almost as impressive as the build quality. This is a factory Ruger licensed product. Samson made this stock by basing it off of the original AC556 and the original Mini folding stocks, the plans from Ruger, but in fact they use genuine hardwood instead of cheap laminated wood. I think this is walnut or chestnut or something like that. It's a maybe a nutty wood, but it looks great. Even though I dinged it on the install, of course I did. The stock portion is stainless steel, hardwood for the wood portion. I wish that this used AR-15 grips, but no big deal. It's got the original style grip on here from the original plans, and it works. One thing I love about this stock is it locks positively into place. One thing that pisses me off about things like the Law stock adapter for the AR-15 is there's no detent that's kind of holding it in place. It kind of flops around. This is firmly locked into place, and it won't deploy until you're ready for it to deploy. What's holding this in place is a little cutout that's at the bottom of the buttstock here, and that when it folds up, it kind of catches this stud in the middle of the receiver. So when you're ready to deploy, all you do is put downward motion on the butt plate. That frees it from this stud here. Then swing it out, locks into place, and you're ready to go. Deploying is easy, deploying's quick, works very well. The only complaint I think that I have about this stock, other than I wish it took AR-15 grips, is that whenever you have to stow the stock away, this little button back here and the buttstock, you've got to press that down. And by press that down, I mean it needs to go 100% of the way down under strong pressure in order for it to fold and then catch that stud again. But you know, that's not the end of the world, because what you're more worried about is rapid deployment, not necessarily being able to rapidly put it up. And it's a minor inconvenience, probably just because I'm a sissy. I can't say enough positive things about the Samson ATM, and I think that's pretty clever, A-TM, like A-Team. I can't say enough positive things about this stock set. I think that this is virtually a must buy. If you want a folding stock, this is the way to do it. And it's very well done, and I think reasonably priced. What else is really important for a semi-automatic rifle? Having good optics. That's a bit of a challenge with the Ruger. Now, when you buy the Ruger, it does come with scope rings that you can use to mount to the top of the receiver, or it comes with like a Picatinny rail section. I found out the hard way that certain optics are not very agreeable to sitting on top of the Picatinny rail section that comes with the Ruger. In fact, it will block your casing's ejection path, and it'll cause this gun to jam up. So here I am thinking of Billy Badass, just watch here, with trying to put my EOTech on the factory rail that comes with the Ruger Mini-14 Tactical. Got an EOTech on here, got my synthetic stock, got my resonator. It's a little bit like, I guess, buying a like a 1958 Ford truck and putting an electric engine in it or some shit. Just something to just piss the fuds off. That's what we're doing today, pissing fuds off on TFBTV. Let's see how this thing runs. Oh, fucking jammed because of this EOTech. God damn. What a dick. So embarrassing. So yeah, I humiliated myself. Some optics are going to occlude this ejection path, and you're gonna have a bad day at the range. So you've got a couple of options. I wanted to put an LPVO on this Mini-30, so I got a Trijicon 1-4X with a 7.62-39. That's probably about all the distance you're gonna need. So how am I gonna mount this thing where I get proper eye relief? I said, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna try this Aero ultra lightweight scope mount. I've had success with these in the past. They're lightweight, they're easy to install, but I was worried about it blocking up the ejection port like that EOTech did. Well, for some reason, I had zero malfunctions whatsoever. So I guess I could recommend, if you're going to use a scope, and especially if you need a little bit of offset, either you could go rings, which is probably the smart thing to do, is to get two separate rings so you don't have to worry about blocking that ejection port. But I can already independently verify that this Aero, which I think is like 69 bucks or something like that, that this mount will work and it won't block your ejection port. Some of us want a reflex optic, a holographic optic, a red dot sight, whatever. Fortunately, you're covered there. I think that the best option is the Ultimac. The Ultimac, if you're familiar, if you're an AK guy, you already know what this is. I've got a few of those on my AKs. On the Mini-14, it replaces that cover that you have that goes over the barrel. It replaces the barrel shroud, locks into place, and you get a sturdy mounting platform. You can use a red dot sight. You don't have to worry about blocking up your ejection port. These cost around 150 bucks, but they're extremely well made. Anybody who has ever handled Ultimac or installed one, the installation is a little bit more complex than you might be used to. So while the ATM folding stock was a lot easier than I anticipated to install, the Ultimac was a lot more difficult than I anticipated to install. At one point, I put the rear set screws in upside down because I am an idiot. Like I said, I'm not good at gunsmithing, but I still managed to get this thing on here after like 15, 20 minutes. So for those of you out there who are not complete morons like me, you could probably do it in 10 minutes or less. So it really wasn't that difficult, but it does require almost a full takedown. I mean, you got to remove the trigger group, the stock. The trade-off is you're getting an ultra sturdy platform to mount your optics. And if you have the proper eye relief and the proper rings or mount, you could probably even use a magnified optic, even if it is a little bit far forward. But that said, you're going to be putting a lot of weight on the front end of the gun. And for that matter, you can see I put the Ultimac on my Mini-14 Tactical, which I have with the regular stock. I didn't want to put the Ultimac on my Mini-30 that has the ATM stock because the ATM stock already shifts the weight further forward, and I didn't want to add more weight to the front of the gun. So I've got my holographic sight on my Mini-14 Tactical with my Ultimac, and then I'm using the factory mount that goes over the ejection port on my Mini-30 to kind of keep more weight towards the back. Another essential upgrade for any Mini-14 or Mini-30 owner, one of the chief complaints that Mini owners have is that the rear sight isn't very robust. It's kind of simple, kind of crappy. Well, there's this company called Tech Sights that makes a what they call GI aperture rear sight. It looks like something, you know, from a like a M1 carbine or a standard M1, but you've got like a standard adjustable GI peep sight that's a lot more robust. And this is like a true 2 or 3 minute installation. Cost you 70 bucks. Huge sight upgrade. I mean, honestly, if I were Ruger, I would just start buying the sights from these guys, or I'd buy the rights to the Tech Sight, because this is such a huge upgrade and it's so inexpensive and so easy to put on that I think this is $70 well spent. I think I'll put maybe a TFB affiliate link to Amazon or something. I got mine from Amazon Prime. All right, so we spent $70 to $220 for the optics, right? So $70 for the rear sight. If you want, you can go with the Ruger scope mount, just the factory scope mount, or if you want to install an RDS that might block your ejection port, then you're gonna have to shell out 150 bucks for the Ultimac, which is, in my opinion, totally worth it. But guys, really, that's all I got. There's not too much that you need to do to a Mini-14 to make it BUBBA Tactical right out of the box. The Ultimac, I think, is a great upgrade. I think the $69 sight on the rear, I think that's a fantastic upgrade. It's already piston fired. It already works well with the suppressor. If you get the tactical version, it's already got the threaded barrel. The trigger is out of this world. A lot of people don't understand that the Mini-14 has a better trigger than like most aftermarket triggers you could buy for your AR. Trigger weight on this, so 5 pounds, 7 ounces. You get a 5.5 pound stock trigger in the Mini-14 that is also extremely crisp. You have a little bit of take up and then you hit a wall, boom, there it is. Just a little bit, just the slightest amount of mush, and then you get a short reset. There it is. Not super short, but short. I'm not saying it's the best trigger in the world, but it's certainly better than like a mil-spec trigger and even a high-end AR-15 that you would get. So there's not a lot that you really need to do to this gun. These are a few things. If you want to drop a couple $100 into your Mini-14, make it a little bit more capable, this is the way to do it, BUBBA Tactical. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I love the old Mini-14, Mini-30 series. I'm always enthused whenever I can make a video about them. I've got to say thank you so much to Samson for sending me that stock. And guys, I'm so sorry that it took me so long to make a video. It's just because I was a coward. I was afraid I was going to screw something up. I was afraid that the install was going to be a pain, and it ended up being absolute cake. Thank you to our sponsors, Ventura Munitions. They're the ones that send all the ammo that we use in our videos. Not to mention Top Gun Supply, your online shooting sports superstore. If you're looking for a Mini, pop over there. And Blue Alpha Gear, they make fantastic shooting belts. But thank you again to you guys, to our Patreon and Subscribe Star supporters, to our subscribers. Stay tuned. We'll bring you more next week. Take care.